Okay. I'm going to read you something that Donald Trump posted online. I want you to decide whether or not you personally believe it. And here it is, quote. I'm going to do my best with his voice. For those people, fewer in number now than ever before, that think that I am anxious to end the war, if you would even call it that, with Iran, please be advised that I am possibly the least pressured person ever to be in this position. I have all the time in the world, but Iran doesn't. I am not anxious. I am not pressured. Kind of sounds like you are, doesn't it? Now, setting aside all the reports outlining how Trump is searching for a way out of his war of choice, of course, and the very real fact that Iran does indeed benefit from a drawn-out conflict, there's a lot of evidence that all the time in the world is not necessarily making things better on this side of the conflict. Just today, the head of the International Energy Agency warned that the world is facing its biggest energy security threat in history. Gas prices remain incredibly high thanks to the continued blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Yesterday, the Washington Post reported that the Pentagon told Congress it could take 6 months to fully clear the Strait of mines deployed by Iran. And it appears that story might have crossed Trump's desk because today he ordered the Navy to shoot and kill Iranian boats that are laying such mines. But the clock is ticking, and the longer this conflict goes on, the bigger the consequences get, which is why it was interesting that Trump made this particular comparison when asked about his war timeline.
On the war with Iran, how long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks, and the military is totally defeated.
Joining me now is retired Rear Admiral John Kirby. He's the former Pentagon press secretary and White House National Security Communications Advisor. He's also the spokesperson at the State Department. He's basically had every single job in national security. Let me start by asking you this. It's great to see you, of course. I mean, referencing the Vietnam War, given his own history of claiming bone spurs, was quite a choice on Trump's part. But the intention seemed to be to set the expectation that this could go on for a while, right? That though he said 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, he may need much more time. I just wonder the impact of that. One, on the men and women serving, people who are stationed in the Middle East who don't know where this is going, but also really on the outcome of this war and the impacts of it on the country.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, when I heard those comments, I had the same phrase, set the expectations. That's exactly what he's doing. He's preparing the American people. And you're right, he's preparing troops and their families for a longer fight than what they had previously anticipated, or at least what he had previously anticipated for. But you know what, Jen? He's also setting the expectations for the negotiating table. I mean, he extended the ceasefire because he really wants to try to find a diplomatic way out of this and say what he wants. I mean, it's clear he wants to find an exit ramp. So you extend the ceasefire in the hopes that the Iranians will come to the table. And you say things like, I'm not in a big hurry, to convey to the Iranians, like, hey, I can wait you out. You know, now's your chance. You got to come to the table. The other audience that he's talking to, in my view, is the Israelis, who don't want to see this war end prematurely and end in a way that leaves the regime in power of nuclear material and or preponderance of their missiles and their drones. And so I think he's also communicating to the Israelis, like, I'm not rushing to the exit here. But he looks at the polls. He sees the gas prices. I think it's clear that he wants to find a way out of here as quickly as possible.
The New York Times published this new reporting on the state of Iranian leadership. A really fascinating story. And as you and I both know, I mean, it's always been fractious. It's always been divided kind of in Iran between the religious leaders, the military. I mean, there's always been a little bit of fractions. But the Times... A source told the Times that the current Ayatollah might be leader in name, but he's not supreme the way his father was. They said he's subservient to the Islamic Revolutionary Guards because he owes his position and he owes the survival of the system to them. And I thought this was important because as we're looking at negotiations and what we're hearing from the Iranians and what I think everybody out there is hoping this comes to an end, I wonder how big a deal that is, given it seems kind of even more fractured than it was 10 years ago.
It's a huge deal. You remember well during the Obama administration, as we were negotiating the Iran deal, how important it is when you're sitting across the table that your interlocutor on the other side has the authority, has the accountability, and is speaking for the government. In the case of the Iran deal that President Obama and John Kerry negotiated, the supreme leader at the time, Khamenei, made it clear to everybody in what was, you're right, a fractured government that this mattered to him and everybody needed to get on board. And so John Kerry had the ability to negotiate in good faith. That's not happening right now because the government is even more fractured than it was before, and the IRGC is much more in power than they were before, and they're not at the table. It's not them being represented by the Iranian government, and so you saw this once the ceasefire got announced. Just a couple of days after that, the IRGC fired at 2 ships in the Gulf, making it clear that they didn't agree with the ceasefire and that they weren't a party to the negotiations. So it's going to make it very, very tough to come up with an agreement that you can be sure on our side of the table that everybody on the Iranian side is going to get behind and actually enforce.
There's so much to read between the lines here. I'm so grateful you could be here as always, John Kirby. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.